Hey there, I'm your host, UW Fan Jim, and this is an old dog in a new conference. I decided to start this after watching some local Husky podcasts. They just list off the likely wins for the Dogs, and it really didn't feel like they had any idea who these Big Ten teams are. So I'm going to try to go a little in depth on the Big Ten and the opponents the Huskies will face, along with, once we don't, I'll just get those teams in when I can. We're facing off at home versus Northwestern, who is 2-1, and they had a close loss to Duke, which is a solid team. The head coach David Braun was 8-5 last season in his first season as a head coach. They run the spread offense, and they have a 4-3 multiple defense. Their starting quarterback is Jack Lausch, his 6'2", 209-pound sophomore, who took over the starting role from senior transfer Mike Wright from Mississippi State. Lausch completed 20 of 31 passes for 227 yards and 2 TDs in a win versus a 1-2 Eastern Illinois Panthers team. That's not a huge opponent, but the Huskies have played some weaker competition so far too. Our strongest game was Wazoo. We lost. Their strongest game was Duke, and they lost. But both were tight games. Their receiving corps is led by a Michigan transferred in 2022. Where he played some at Michigan, and he has played a ton for Northwestern. And last season he had 20 receptions, 188 yards, and a TD. He started the last 8 games of the season. Their running back is a real mighty might. He reminds me a little bit of a smaller Jonah Coleman. His Cam Porter, he's 5'10", he's 213 pounds, which we know is not the same size as Coleman, but he runs hard and he's fast. Watching him turn the corner, he has speed. I mean, he's not a burner, but he has the speed it takes to hit the corner. And if you're a cornerback trying to hold the end on him, even an average linebacker, he's gonna pound you. He's a good runner. I liked what I saw from him. Then they have an offensive line, and their offensive line is a veteran group. It's 3 seniors, 2 of which are transfers, and 2 juniors. They started combined 47 games last season. They have good size, and their left tackle, who I think started at right tackle last year, but their left tackle, his name is Caleb Tiernan. He's 6'7", 329-pound junior who started all 13 games, again at right tackle, and allowing just 1 sack. That's a pretty impressive stat. I'm not sure what his preseason all Big Ten status is and all that. I should have looked that up. I'm trying to get this one out because I got to start on this a little late. But he looked pretty good, and the line looked pretty good. So with that running back and the solid veteran offensive line, I think the Huskies are going to have their hands full stopping the run. We are good on defense this year. I know we have had some issues here and there, but I think our defensive coordinator did a great job. I think Belichick's done a great job. And then when I flip over to the defensive side of the ball, the defensive side is led by Tim McGargle, who is a young defensive coordinator, mostly been a linebackers coach. And so far this season, again versus lower competition, they are 4th in the Big Ten against the run, allowing just 57.1 yards per game. They're not as good against the pass, but they're not terrible so far either. Their standout players on the defense, 6'3", senior linebacker Xander Muller leads the team in tackles, and he's 4th in the Big Ten. He started all 13 games last season, finished with an impressive 100 tackles, 5 sacks, and 3 interceptions. When you get to the secondary, they're led by a pair of juniors, strong safety Devin Turner, who's 6'1", 212 pounds, and corner Theron Johnson, who's 5'11", 182 pounds. They combined for 21 starts last season. They look like a pretty athletic pair, of defensive backs. Up front, they also have they're all solid. They're led by a pair of seniors and a pair of juniors. Starting on the edge is Aiden Hubbard, who's a 6'4", 252-pound junior, who was their most productive player, 27 tackles and 6 sacks. Followed by the defensive end on the other side, Jaden Pate, who totaled 27 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. In the middle, they are less experienced. They have 2 players, Najee Story, who started 10 games, and then R.J. Pearson, who played in 12 games, but I don't think he had any starts in the middle. R.J. Pearson's a little bigger, 6'3", 310. Najee Story is 6'4", 288, and he's a little more disruptive from what I could see. The team is coming off of a solid 8-5 season and should not be overlooked. I really think Northwestern is a program with a young coach that has never been traditionally a powerhouse or anything like that, but they can be a good team, and I think with a young coach and a pretty veteran team, I would not take this team lightly. I don't think the Huskies, of course, would do that. So when we hit the field Saturday, I hope this is a little bit of information that will make your game day viewing a little better, and go Dogs.